All right, Garrett Johnson here with Paul Goydos. And Paul, 60 years old. You've been on the Champions Tour, 10 years now? How does it feel?
Good math. It went by fast. Faster than I thought. I think you play golf for a living, and to some extent, the Champions Tour is I don't like a new lease, but a chance to. It's a little bit gravy if you've been playing the tour. You get to kind of, and so it's pretty enjoyable. When things are enjoyable, they tend to go by kind of quick. I was 50 and now I'm 60. I don't remember 51, 2, 3, 4, whatever.
When you say enjoyable, I'm just thinking like the camaraderie. I know I talk about beyond the clubhouse, the friendships we all make from golf. And for you, like what's really lasted with you with some of these friendships?
Well, I would say the biggest difference too about the Champions Tour is it's generally one generation of players. They're between 50 and 60. These are guys that we've known. We played college golf with. We started on the Hogan Tour back when that was called the Hogan Tour. We played the PGA Tour together. I've known everybody out here for, even the guys that maybe just got out here when they were 50. We've known since college. We've known all these guys. And so that kind of makes this a little bit more, I don't know, easier in a sense. Everybody in the range your friends with. You could literally stop and talk to every single person hitting balls. PGA Tour, it was a little more cliquey, a little more, there might be a 50-year-old, a 20-year-old. It was a lot more generational, and you didn't know as many people in a sense. You had your own little group.
So if you guys are stopping and talking on the range, like how do you structure your practice? Do things go a little? You have to kind of seat your pants sometimes.
At this age, I hate to say this, and maybe this is why my career is not that good. Some of this is just killing time. Tournament starts tomorrow. Thursday. I'm not in the Pro-Am today. I came out here because I didn't want to sit in my room for 8 straight hours and just hit a few balls and get loose. You're preparing, but part of that preparation is rest. Part of that preparation is getting your mind in a good set and talking to people and different things and just getting in a good frame of mind. A happy frame of mind is important to the game, too. We put a lot of emphasis on how we're hitting it or how we're putting it, but how our attitude is just as important. Because my attitude's been terrible, and I've been playing terrible.
Well, it's interesting talking about frame of mind, being in the right frame of mind. You've mentioned in previous podcasts that golf is what you do, but it's not who you are. It doesn't define the person as Paul Goydos. And so
I would like that to be the case. It probably has too much,
So how do you strike that balance?
I would say that's a goal, that you don't define yourself by how you play. If you shoot 80, you're not a bad person. If you shoot 65, you're not the greatest person alive. It just takes practice, and it takes... I actually, sports psychologist. I've talked to therapists about it. You need to understand. You need family. You need to get help. You just can't do it alone. And I think the biggest thing you need to learn to do there is listen to your friends. Listen to your family. Listen to the people that can help you with that. I think it's an individual sport, and we tend to get caught up in being the individual, and so we think we got to solve it ourselves. When the reality is, problems like that need to be solved through a group session, and that's what family, friends, like I said, a therapist, whoever, even the people out here. I've talked about it with Kevin and Steve about things like that too. It's not that easy though.
Yeah. Well, so when it comes to sharing things, it's just a matter of just finding some friendships just on certain days of the week. You guys, we're going to do this, and we're going to meet together for this.
Structured like that, but we play. Kevin and Steve and I play our practice rounds together every Tuesday, and those are good to know the course, but I find them therapeutic too, because the other thing about golf is that you think you're the only one struggling, because it's an individual sport. You're out playing with two guys that are shooting 7 under and you're 3 over, and you think you're at the end of the world. And the reality is everyone is struggling at this game. Everyone is. The best players in the world right now, Scottie Scheffler is by far the best player in the world. He still only wins. He's winning 15 or 20% of the time right now, but his career is probably 5. Phil Mickelson's career is 5. My career we literally played 800 events and won 9. My career is 1%, maybe. That may be high. So it's also this understanding and that everyone's struggling, and that's true of farmers and lawyers and doctors and whoever, caddies. It doesn't matter. Everyone's kind of fighting through things.
So there's like a vulnerability that we have to deal with.
But I think it's one of the great things about our sport. Golf's it is a sport. You watch basketball players and there's a lot of trash talk. You watch golfers and there's it's more positive. Great shot, great playing, blah blah blah. We're much more encouraging of our fellow competitive people we're competing against than maybe other sports, and I think that helps too.
So there's no trash talk going on out there. Come on, you got to give us a story of some good trash talk here.
Well, not in the sense that you have in the NBA. No, I every once in a while you might say something, that you probably shouldn't say. I was playing with Billy Andrade early in my Champions Tour career at Newport, where I live, and we were late. I mean, I want to say I finished fourth that week, and Billy was having a bad day, and he hadn't made a birdie, and we're on 14. I think it was 14 on Sunday, and I hit it literally 6 inches from the hole. But I couldn't get to it to tap it in because other people are putting. I want to stand in anybody's line. I'm not great at leaning over and tapping in, so I just marked it. And so everybody putts out, and somebody in the, you have a putt, that long, and the crowd, that's good. You hear all those people yelling from the crowd like that. And so Billy says it, just pick it up, it's good. And I kind of, haha, it's funny. And he says it again, so I tap it in. I go, hey, Billy, I just wanted to show you how to make a birdie. That's about as hard as it's ever going to get in golf.
That's pretty good. Well, it's funny when we think about.
I think that was pretty good, by the way. He didn't seem happy. He did birdie 18 though.
Yeah, so he was able to finish strong. It's interesting. We talk about different professions there for a minute. You're talking about doctors and different things. You were a substitute teacher many years ago, and I know kindergarten wasn't your favorite, and you got a chance to do that for one day. What was that like?
Just one day, I would never. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. I mean, they're just. I actually have a grandson now who's 5. Who's going to kindergarten in a year. He's in pre-K. I just don't have patience for it. It's just. I mean, I look at people who teach elementary school, and they're saints. I mean, whatever they're paid, it's not enough. It's just. I mean, you couldn't pay me enough money to do that. Again, not that they were bad. It was just incredibly hard.
Just their loudness of the kids. What's the problem?
Trying to relate to somebody who doesn't have relating skills. Maybe I'm just again, I'm not saying the kids were bad in any way, shape, or form. I just wasn't, for lack of a better word, mature enough to handle the situation and be patient enough to deal with it. Just can you sit on the? No, it's just there's just chaos. And again, I would say that again, that's not. I think all kindergartner. I look at my house now. I've got my grandson lives with me, and so I have a granddaughter who lives with me too, and it's chaos. And I look at my daughter and say, she's the greatest human being alive. Both my daughters have young kids, and I just don't know how they do it. I really don't know how I did it. Again, part of it is I played golf, and I wasn't there some of that time. But yeah, I mean, I could handle the high school kids, but kindergarten was really hard. I mean, again, those people are saints.
Well, I know that age group, young kids, are not exactly your sweet spot, but still, you talk about being a granddad just so many times. Like, what does that mean to you? Like, how fulfilling is that for you?
It's funny when people before it happened, people talked about how great it was to be a grandparent. I mean, you're somebody else's kids, my kids' kids. I didn't get it really. And then 5 years ago, my grandson Jack was born, and yeah, it's been about the best thing that's happened. And again, one of the things that, and maybe it's a different view of it, I've looked at seeing how my daughters parent. Maybe I shouldn't look at that. And they are way better than I ever was. Way more mature, have way more tools. They actually work at it. We were just flying by the seat. I was. Maybe my wife wasn't, but I was flying by the seat of my pants. I didn't know what I was doing.
Just a lot better structured?
I think they're really good. The kids are, yeah, I mean, just, and again, I don't know where it came from, but they're just again, at that age, it's tough. You're dealing with a 2-year-old that's in the terrible twos, and you're dealing with a 5-year-old who wants maybe a little more attention because a 2-year-old's getting attention, and how patient she is, and how she deals with it, and how, I mean, I'm just flabbergasted. And my other daughter's got, again, a 2-year-old in the terrible twos. How good they are at just being calm and quiet, and I'm the other way. I'm like a volcano out there, and again, I don't know where they got that parenting skill. I'm assuming from the genes from my wife. It certainly didn't come from me.
Love that. I wanted to take you to the course real quick. Like, in 60 years, like some of the stories that you've had, whether at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, some of these places you get to go, but then the people you get to play with. Like, what couple stories come to mind when it comes to just playing with celebrities or just playing with stars at a course that, the top-ranked player at the time?
Right, yeah. So my rookie year, I had never played a PGA Tour event until I got my tour card. And my third event was Pebble Beach, AT&T, and and I don't know. I've never played I'd played Pebble Beach before, but I hadn't played Spyglass, I don't think, and I hadn't played Poppy Hill. So I'm out there Monday grinding, playing practice rounds Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to see the courses. And the pairings come out, and I look, and I'm playing with Donnie Hammond was the other pro, and he's playing with H. Crosby, and it's Paul Goydos and D. Trump. And I went, it can't be Donald Trump. That doesn't even make any sense. And so we get to Thursday, and I'm playing with Donald Trump. We end up playing Saturday at Pebble, the last group. And so I got to play, and 3 days with him. He made a hole-in-one on the 12th hole at Spyglass the second day. He played fine. He was like a 5 handicap. I want to say maybe a little better than that. And I probably played. I missed the cut by probably 10 shots. I'm sure he was pretty disappointed in the pro that he drew. And I actually went to the tournament director, who I knew, and I said, H. Crosby was Bing Crosby's son. We're in the last group on the first tee at Pebble Beach on Saturday. It was bedlam. And I thought it was kind of an odd pairing for me. I really don't fit that category. Donnie Hammond was a tour winner at that time. And so I went to tournament director and said, what are you doing? Why would you pair me with Donald Trump? It doesn't make any sense. And he kind of looked at me and goes, Paul, if I pair him with Payne Stewart, who was playing at the time, he goes, then Donald Trump would be in Payne Stewart's group. Okay. So he goes, but if I pair him with you, you're in Donald Trump's group. And I went,
How'd that feel?
well, I thought, this guy's a genius. He's been doing, that was kind of the arrogance of being a 28-year-old thinking I knew anything. That's one of those learning moments where this guy knows so much more about what he's doing than I did. I shouldn't even have been questioning what he was doing. To me, that is, he's got to juggle all of those amateurs and all of those pros. And it was back then, it was 180 players, and he had to juggle all of that and make it work. And that tournament was fantastic to play in. And big reason part of it was fantastic was how great they did those types of things. And it was a great experience. It was a really fun experience. Again, I played terrible, but he couldn't have been nicer to me. He couldn't have been, it was Harry Crosby was a wonderful guy, and Donnie Hammond. It was a great pairing. I was very fortunate for a tour school guy to get that group. And then the other time is I remember the first time I got Tiger.
Where was that at?
Byron Nelson, and I played Nick Price and Tiger Woods and me. So
Didn't you go really low that day?
I shot 28 on the front nine. Tiger shot 29. I shot 28 with a ball in the water on the front nine, and Tiger shoots 29. And then I needed to birdie the last two to shoot 59, and I parred 17 and bogeyed 18 to shoot 62. Tiger shot 61, and Nick Price shot 63. So I think it's the lowest group in the history of the PGA Tour. Maybe it's been changed since then, but I can't imagine there's been a lower group than that. That was a pretty cool day.
What were you struck by with Tiger and just the way he was able to execute and play?
Tiger, I want to say this is Tiger in '97 before he just maybe won the Masters. I think it was, maybe in '99. I'd known Tiger. He used to hit balls at a par 3 course. He grew up in the town next to me. When he was 5 or 6, hanging out with his dad at the range at Hartwell Park, I was there too a little bit. Practicing. It was a night range and a par 3 course, and it was a place you could go after school and hit balls. So I kind of knew who Tiger was a little bit. I knew his dad since he was 3 years old. So it wasn't like it was like some standout thing with me because he might not remember it, but I knew who he was. I played with Tiger in 2000 U.S. Open when he won at Pebble Beach. I played with him on Wednesday in practice round with Mark O'Meara and John Cook, and I've never seen anybody play golf. We got done playing. A million things happened that day. Just went, holy crap. And we got done, and there was 2 reporters came to me. Everyone trying to get Tiger to talk. A couple of talking to Cook. John Cook called the Jim Rome show from the 18th fairway. And they asked me, what do you think? This tournament is over. What do you mean? That guy over there, see that guy Tiger Woods? He's going to win this tournament by 10 shots. This tournament is over. And he won by 15.
Just based on the ball striking you're seeing?
I've seen like in my life. There was not one aspect there was not one aspect of the game where I wasn't embarrassed by how I played compared to how he played. Not just close. It was embarrassingly better than me. And he ended up winning the tournament by 15 shots. And with a triple, I think he made that week too. I've never seen it like that in my life, and I've never seen it like it since.
Well, that was Pebble Beach, of course, California course, and you being from SoCal, going to Long Beach State, you love Rivier. I know 10 is one of the strategy holes you've always raved about. What is it about that course and that hole in particular that really kind of shows a lot of different sides of the PGA Tour players?
Yeah, when we played it, it really wasn't that. You never really. The guys didn't hit driver that day. Lee did. A few guys did, but most guys laid up and tried to get an angle. He tried to hit as far left and get an angle and hit a pitch on it. 4 was fine. It's the 3. And now everyone's hitting 3 wood at the green, And I think it just completely befuddles them because you just, they can't get themselves to lay it up. And I think now they're starting to get a lot more statistics in golf that tells you hit as close as you can to the green. That's the best way to make the best score over time. And so I would say if you were at a golf tournament and you lived in LA and you wanted to watch people play golf, I would just camp on 10 and watch guys make 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 because that's what they're going to do. Because it doesn't fit the mold of the game anymore. It's not even a driver for them. It's a 3-wood for a par 4, and they can't play it very well anyway. It really makes them look. It's an awkward hole, and they struggle with it for the best players in the world. The 12th hole is a 500-yard par 4, and you see guys hitting driver and 8-iron making birdies, and they can't birdie the 10th hole. It's pretty funny. But the game's changed, and that's fine. I mean, I think the game's an entertainment based, and there's nothing more entertaining than watching the best players in the world struggle with a hole that the 15 handicapper pars half the time.
Speaking of entertainment, you played or didn't play. You were assistant captain in the Ryder Cup. I know you hadn't really watched or been to a Ryder Cup before then. So what was it like, the atmosphere, 2010 Celtic Manor? I know you were overseeing Bubba, Jeff Overton, but also you were around Tiger. What was that like?
Yeah, I was a skeptic. I mean,
surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I didn't get the whole thing. I hadn't been around it. I didn't understand why the pairings were so important, especially in best ball. When we play, we just throw balls, and that's who your partner is. These are the best players in the world. What difference does it make who's playing with who? And then you get there, and you realize again those moments where you realize you really don't know anything, Paul, and you really need to shut up. You stop talking because you're completely wrong. I was overwhelmed, and you could see it a little bit this year in the President's Cup, which I watched a little bit. How good the play is. The amount of tension. I wasn't playing. I was just a guy watching, handing out sandwiches and making sure everyone's comfortable. That's basically the assisting. And make sure everybody's wearing the right clothes. That's basically was my job. And
speaking of that too, you also had to make sure everybody was wearing the right belt. And Tiger, tell us the Tiger story there.
Tiger didn't have the right clothes the first 2 days, and he got pretty mad at me because I told him, and Stevie wasn't real happy, and because he could again, the stuff was all this. He had 2 pairs of gray pants, and one was a white belt, and one was a black belt, and he had the black belt on the white belt pants, and it was all. But he got it after I yelled at him twice. He got it all sorted out. It was pretty good the rest of the week. And
Stevie was good with that too, or you just had to survive that?
Yeah, he had to survive Stevie. Stevie has his own world. But again, the amount of tension in the air completely caught me off guard. I didn't think I'd feel anything, quite frankly. And you could sense the amount of tension in the air, and how well the 24 players played under that conditions startled me. I thought this would be more like a U.S. Open, would there be more bogeys? The golf course was playing. It was really wet, playing really long. The rough was really thick. Greens were really fast, and everybody. Jeff Overton. These guys are shooting 5, 6, 7 under par in every. It was stunning how well they played. Nobody really played bad. When you see these guys, this guy didn't play good. He didn't get benched. Only played 2 matches. It's more that not that he played bad. These other 10 guys played way better. Sometimes we get caught up in a guy playing bad. No, in that format, what I saw was 10 guys playing great, maybe 2 guys playing good, and the good guys playing good didn't get to play. That's how I was. Again, completely blown away by the level of play in those matches, considering the situation.
Well, what was a favorite story that came out of that Celtic Manor for you?
What I remember was, how Tiger, it was probably, I would say the best thing I saw, and maybe it's going to be American point of view, was, so in the singles matches in the Ryder Cup, you don't know who you're going to play. In the President's Cup, they pick back and forth. But in the singles cup, you just list your guys 1 through 12. They list their guys 1 through 12, and then they hand them in. And that was the year that Dustin Johnson, unfortunately, grounded his club in a bunker at Whistling Straits, and had a penalty, and ended up finishing 1 shot behind Martin Keimer, I think it was. So it was Martin Keimer.
Keimer won that, yeah.
And we pair the singles matches, and it's Dustin Johnson against Martin Keimer. What are the odds? They're not. We kind of know Dustin's playing good. We need him. We were behind, so we're gonna front load a little bit. Keimer's at that time obviously was the PGA champion, was one of the top. So there's some chance, but it's still 1 to 5, 1 to 6 that those guys are going to see each other, and they get paired with each other. And Dustin Johnson absolutely waxed him. And I was following following Overton's group, and Overton was playing great, and he ended up beating Ross Fisher in singles. And the way the course, the 11th and the 14th greens were near, and I saw that Dustin was going to win his match on 14. I walked over, and he putts out, and this is great having access inside the ropes. So I'm standing on the green when he putts out, and he shakes Keimer's hand, and I walk up to him, hey, great playing, what do you think? And he looks at me and goes, redemption, and walks away. And I went, holy shit. Again, I played with Dustin. Again, he beat me at Pebble Beach one year. Again, his talent level was just scary at that time. He was playing so well. And he beat him 5-3 or whatever. You can look it up. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but he waxed him. I thought that was I go, I don't need to play against Dustin Johnson anymore. He's going to beat the hell out of me. He said, these guys are just so good. The top players in the Ryder Cup, the guys, and again, the President's Cup for the international team. The difference between, think of a guy like, let's take a guy who's won 10 or 15 times on tour versus a guy like me who's won twice is way different than a guy like me and maybe a guy who hasn't gotten his card yet. I mean, those guys are so much better. I look at a guy like Ernie Els and I just kind of go, yeah, I don't do anything as well as him. Now, that's not an indictment on me. There's some great baseball players that don't do what Shohei Ohtani does. It's more telling me how great Ernie Els is, because 99.99% people who ever played golf can't play as good as me, and I can't even carry Ernie Els' golf bag for his career. Now, on a given day, I can beat him, but over a career, those guys just beat you to death, and it's really amazing. It's really been the great experience of doing what I do at my level, which is journeyman-ish tour player, is finding out what greatness in my sport is. Now, I didn't have it, and that's just the way it is, but I got a chance to see it and understand it, and that's probably the one thing I've learned more than anything else out here.
So even now, seeing Ernie play #1 in the rankings just doesn't surprise you, huh?
No, he's way better. Again, if we play this week and I'm on Sunday and we're in the back nine and we're tied, it's a coin flip. But if we do that back nine 100 times, he's going to win 75. Tiger Woods on a given day. Like I said, he shot first time I played him, he shot 29. I beat him on the front nine. Those things can happen. I've always said that if the PGA Tour, instead of being 4 rounds, were 8 rounds, Tiger would have won every tournament he played in. The 4 rounds, or in Champions Tour, is 3 rounds, so it's even more, a little bit more people have a chance to win. But if the Champions Tour were 8 rounds, there would be 3 guys would win out here, if they could handle the mentality and playing that deal, because they're just, over time, talent bleeds out.
Well, Paul, appreciate the time and good luck the rest of the way of the season.
I appreciate it. Thank you.